Since we're being real, we have to stop pleasing people in 2026. Because the truth is, when you start choosing yourself, you're going to become the villain in somebody else's story, and that is okay. And it's not because you're trying to hurt anybody, and it's not because you suddenly don't care, but because when growth happens, you change how accessible you are. And not everyone is meant to have the same access to you forever. And I want to be clear before we go any further. This conversation is not about becoming cold, it's not about cutting everyone off, and it's definitely not about blaming yourself for anyone else. This is about understanding what people pleasing actually is and why so many of us fall victim to it, and how it quietly keeps us stuck emotionally, relationally, and spiritually. And if you ever felt tired of explaining yourself, or you being the understanding one, or you're tired of feeling guilty for having needs, this conversation is for you. And I want you guys to hold my hand when I say this, but people pleasing is not kindness. Kindness has a choice. People pleasing has fear. People pleasing is when your peace relies heavily on how other people feel. It's when you manage reactions instead of speaking honestly, and when you soften the truth so no one gets uncomfortable. When you apologize just to keep things smooth. That is people pleasing. And the tricky part is it doesn't look unhealthy. It looks like maturity. It looks like emotional intelligence. It looks like being easy to deal with. But inside, it feels like you're always on edge. And I want to pause right here because this matters, okay? People pleasing doesn't come from weakness. It comes from adaptation. At some point in your life, being easy made things safer. Maybe expressing needs caused conflict. And maybe honesty led to distance. Maybe love felt conditional. So that left you no choice but to learn how to read the room, how to anticipate moods, how to adjust before anyone asks you to. And that wasn't manipulation, that was survival. But what protected you then may be holding you back now. And people pleasing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like over-explaining simple decisions, replaying conversations after they happen, feeling anxious when somebody's disappointed, even in certain situations where you stay quiet to keep the peace. And then also feeling responsible for other people's emotions. And in your friendships, that could look like always being the one who adjusts, always being the one who gives more than you receive, and then always being the one that feels drained after hanging out. And in your relationships, you'll start to see that it looks like confusing patience with self-betrayal, working harder when things feel uncertain, and ignoring your own discomfort. And under all of it is this one belief that if I'm not understanding, I'll be left. And here's the thing, you guys. Here's what people pleasing quietly costs you, okay? It costs you your energy, it costs you your clarity, and it costs you your sense of self. You start feeling resentful but guilty for feeling that way. You feel unseen but keep showing up anyway. You feel tired but you tell yourself that you need to try harder. And eventually your body is going to physically start pushing back. You'll start to feel exhausted, disconnected, even numb. And then you'll start self-doubting yourself and wonder what's wrong with you. And nothing is wrong with you, nothing at all. You're just tired of carrying the weight that was never yours to hold. And here's the part nobody really prepares you for. When you stop people pleasing, people who benefit from your silence will feel uncomfortable. People who are used to you overgiving will feel abandoned. And people who only knew the agreeable version of you will feel confused. You will be the villain in their story. In their story, you've changed, you become distant, you became selfish. But the truth is, you just became honest. And honestly, it can feel like betrayal to people who are comfortable with your self-erasure. And that doesn't make you wrong. And you guys, I am guilty of being a people pleaser. I am still working on it till this day. I'm not perfect, but this is really where faith shifted things for me, okay? Because if you guys read the scripture and you read his stories, you guys know that Jesus didn't live to be palatable. And scripture talks about pruning, not punishment. Sometimes things fall away not because you failed, but because the version of you that stayed silent is no longer what you're meant to be. And once you guys start being more intentional with God in your prayers, you'll see that God isn't asking you to abandon yourself to be loved, right? God has already proven to us and told us that you are worth dying for. Love that requires you to disappear is not the kind of love that he designed for us. Change doesn't start with confrontation. It starts with awareness, okay? You guys have to start being more intentional with yourselves. You need to start asking yourself, am I being honest or am I managing reactions? Do I feel peace after saying yes or do I feel pressure? Would I still do this if I wasn't afraid of being misunderstood? Okay? You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You just have to notice that this is what you're actively doing. And when you start to notice, you start gaining awareness, right? That awareness will start creating spaces. Those spaces will start creating choices, and those choices will start creating freedom for yourself. And when you start to gain that freedom for yourself, you start to realize that healthy relationships don't feel like anxiety. They don't require you to perform. They don't punish honesty. They don't make you feel guilty for having needs. But the healthy connection starts feeling mutual. It starts feeling grounded. It starts feeling safe. Okay? You don't have to disappear to belong in a healthy relationship. And if you're still here, I really want you to sit in this moment with me. And I want you to ask yourself, where did you learn to be easy? What are you afraid will happen if you were honest? And who do you most feel like yourself when you're around them? And you can take a moment, pause the video, write it down to reflect. But this is how we start gaining awareness. This is step one. And if this episode hit close to home, please hear this and please understand you are not behind, you are not broken, you are becoming aware, and that is growth. People pleasing protected you once, but it does not have to control your future. Sometimes growth looks like disappointing people, and sometimes healing looks like being misunderstood, but that is perfectly okay. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on your post notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And as always, I will see you all beautiful, beautiful people next week.